Hello, in this video I am going to explain how to answer the questions in the Edexcel Maths Paper 1 from May 2019, the Foundation tier. The purpose of this video is for your learning and understanding, not just the answers. There are, of course, other videos out there. Write 180 minutes in hours. For a question like this, my two units of measure are minutes and hours. So I've got two headings, minutes and hours. I know there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, and I've been asked to convert 180 minutes. I need to work out what would go in this box over here. I know that if I go across from 60 to 1, I need to divide by 60, and I'm going in the same direction, so I will do the same operation. 180 divided by 60 is 3. So the answer to the question is 3 hours. Of course, you don't need to show method for this question. You can just say 3 hours. Write 0.73 as a percentage. We need to understand place value for this question. We know that 0 is the units, 7 is the tenths, and 3 is the hundredths. So this question is 73 over 100 as a fraction, but of course the question is asking for a percentage, so I will write 73%. And again, you don't need method for this one, you can just say 73%. Work out 10 multiplied by 3 add 5. So it's about order of operations. We need to work out the brackets first. 10 multiplied by 3 add 5, which is 8. Notice I've written the 10 first because it's appeared here first and then multiplied by 8. I know in this specific question it doesn't matter, but it could matter in a question that you get in your exam. So 10 multiplied by 8 is 80, and again, just writing 80 is perfectly fine. Write down a prime number that is between 20 and 30. The only prime numbers between 20 and 30 are 23 or 29. 27 is a very common answer, but is incorrect. 27 is divisible by 3 and 9. It does say write down a prime number, therefore just writing 23 or just writing 29 is perfectly fine. Find the number that is exactly halfway between 7 and 15. One method is to list the numbers, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15. And like in median, cross out from beginning and end, and you keep doing that until you've crossed out the same number on both sides, and here we're left with 11. So that's a perfectly fine method. Or you could do 7 add 15 divided by 2. The same as when we do midpoints in coordinates. So that's 22 over 2, and that gets me 11. You don't actually need to show how you're doing this. You can just say 11. Harry is planning a holiday for 4 people for 7 days. Here are the costs for each person. So that's all listed there. Work out the total cost of the holiday for 4 people for 7 days. The first step I'm going to do is work out the cost per person. Each person will spend £150 in total for travel. They spend £50 each day, so that is 7 multiplied by 50, and that's my mark, my first mark. Add on the spending money, that's 250. So adding up all of that together will get me my second mark. That is 150, add 350, add 250, and that gets me 750. So now I have 2 marks. It says then work out the total cost. The total cost for all 4 people would be 750 multiplied by 4, and that's my third mark. Double it, 1,500, double again, that's 3,000. So the final answer is it will cost £3,000 in total, and that's your final mark there. In Adam's garden, the flowers are only red or white or yellow or blue. The chart shows the number of red flowers, the number of white flowers, and the number of yellow flowers. The total number of flowers is 30. Work out the number of blue flowers. So I'm going to list out what I have. I've got red is 8, white is 10, and then yellow is halfway between 4 and 6, so 5. To work out the blue, I'm going to do 30, take away 8, take away 10, take away 5, 30 take away 8 is 22, take away the 10 is 12, take away 5 is 7. And I've got 2 marks for writing my method and then my answer of 7. Part B, write down the mode. So we need to remember mode is equal to most. And in this case, the most popular colour is white. And that's a 1 mark question. You just need to write white. Write the following fractions in order of size. Start with the smallest fraction. To get 1 mark, you need to convert all of the fractions to have the same denominator. I'm going to choose twelfths. So I have here 4 over 12, then I've got 9 over 12, 3 over 12, this stays the same, 7 over 12, and 6 over 12. So I have 1 mark because I've converted all of them and I've converted them correctly. Then I'm going to order using the numerators. So the smallest is 3, which is originally 1/4. Then I've got the 4/12, which was a third. Then the 6/12, which was a half. Then the 7/12, which is a 7/12. And the last one, 3/4. So once I've written them in the correct order, I've got my second mark. Ruth left her home at 9 a.m. and walked to the library. She got to the library at 10:30. Ruth walked at a speed of 4 miles per hour. Work out the distance Ruth walked. So for this one, the first thing I'm going to start with is the time, the first 2 sentences. From 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., that is a total of 1 hour and 30 minutes. But because the speed is in miles per hour, I'm going to convert this to 1.5 hours. Now, lots of people will see this question and think, oh, I need to use the speed, distance, time triangle. You can. I'm not going to. I don't do it that way. I have my headings of miles and hours. I know that she travelled 4 miles for every 1 hour. And in this case, she is travelling for 1.5 hours. I need to find a connection either going downwards or across. I'm going to go across and I'm going to do 1 multiplied by 4 to get 4. Same direction, same operation. 1.5 multiplied by 4 to get her total distance, and in this case it is 6 miles. Ruth got to the library at 10:30. She stayed there for 50 minutes, then she walked home. Ruth took 1.25 hours to walk home. Right, to get the first mark, we need to be adding at least the 50 minutes onto the 10:30, so I'll start with that. I'm going to use a number line approach. If I do 10:30 add 30 minutes, that will take me to 11 o'clock, but it's not 30 minutes I need to add 50, so I need to add another 20 minutes. And that takes me to 11:20, so I've got 1 mark there. It says once she stayed for 50 minutes, she walks home for 1.25 hours. That 1.25, I need to remember, is the same as 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to use my number line approach again. I've got 11:20. I'm going to add on 1 hour, and that gets me to 12:20. Then I need to add on that 15 minutes, and that takes me to 12:35. Remember, it is 2 marks, so we do need method. You cannot just say 12:35. Solve t plus t plus t equals 12. In this case, I'm going to collect the like terms. I've got 3t equals 12. Divide both sides by 3, and I've got t equals 4. It is a 1 mark question, so you can actually just say t equals 4. Solve x subtract 2 equals 6. If I do add 2 on both sides, I have x equals 8. And again, just writing x equals 8 is fine. Solve 6w add 2 equals 20. My approach is the flowchart method. So what is happening to w? I am multiplying by 6 first. That's how I got 6w. 6w add 2. So I need to add 2 next, and that gives me 20. I haven't got any marks just yet. When I go backwards and do the inverse, that's when I'll get my first mark. So instead of adding, I'm doing the inverse, which is subtract. And instead of multiplying, I'm doing the inverse, which is to divide. And now I'm going to actually carry that out. 20 subtract 2 is 18. 18 divide 6 is 3. W equals 3. This question, of course, is 2 marks, so you must have method. For this question, they're obviously looking for a written method, so you can use any written method. I like to use the Chinese method. Some people call it the lattice method. Some people call it gelosia. So you've got a 2 by 2 grid because it's 2 digits and 2 digits. And then you split each one diagonally. And then you split the numbers, so it's 7, 4 for 74, 5, 8 for 58. And then for this box over here, the top left, you're doing 7 by 5, which is 35. For this box on the right, you've got 4 by 5, so that gives us 20. And this bottom left box is 7 multiplied by 8, and in this case, that's 56. For this last box, I need to do 4 multiplied by 8, and that is 32. And we need to then add diagonally. So these highlighted rows, columns, as you wish. Just like in column addition, we're going to start from the right-hand side. So I've got 2 add nothing, which is 2. 0 add 3 add 6 is 9. 2 add 5 is 12. So you carry the 1. 3 add 1 is 4. Now, providing you have done a written method correctly with just 1 error, you would get 1 method mark. And then because you've said 4,292, you would get the second mark. We are told AB and BC are perpendicular lines. That means 90 degrees. It then says find the value of x. So if you've written out a calculation that looks something like 90 subtract 25 subtract 25, you've got 1 mark. And then because you've worked it out and you've said it's 40, you've got your second mark. Part 2 of the question, explain why A plus B plus C is equal to 235. So that's those three angles there. We need to start off by saying that angles about a point add up to 360 degrees. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. And then I'm going to do almost like a bit of algebra. A plus B plus C plus 125 is equal to 360. And then I'm going to subtract 125 from both sides. So we're kind of mini solving the question. And that gets me A plus B plus C. And I need to work this out. And I'm just going to do that on the side because I don't have a calculator. Hopefully, when I work this out, so 5, 1, it should come out as 235. So I've given my reason and then I've given an algebraic kind of explanation. The length of a line is x centimeters. Write down an expression in terms of x for the length of the line in millimeters. Now, of course, this is just 1 mark, but for your understanding, I would write down millimeters and centimeters. And I know that 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. And I've been told that it's x centimeters. I'm going to put that over here. Now, if I decide to go downwards, I need to do 1 multiplied by x to get me x. So I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to multiply by x, and that should get me 10x, and that is the answer. It is, of course, a 1 mark question, so you don't need to do all of this sort of setting out and layout. You can just say 10x. Work out 1/5 of 70. So if you remember, when you do a fraction of amount, you need to divide by the denominator. So I need to do 70 divided by 5. I like to write my divisions as a fraction. So I've got 70 over 5. I'm going to rewrite that as 140 over 10 because that's an easier calculation for me. And then that gives me 14. And that's all they're looking for. So it doesn't matter how you get to the 14. You could use bus stop, you can use this kind of layout as long as you get 14. Fiona has to work out the exact value of 48 divide half. She writes 48 divide half equals 24. Fiona's reason is there are 2 halves in 1, so there will be 24 halves in 48. Explain what is wrong with Fiona's reason. So we would say she has said 48 divided by a half is the same as 48 divide 2, which is wrong. Actually, 48 divided by a half is the same as 48 multiplied by 2, which is 96. And that's perfectly fine. Write down the value of square root 64. This question is just checking to see if you understand notation. So this symbol means square root. So in other words, what number multiplied by itself is 64? And we would say 8. If you want to be extra fancy, you could say positive or negative 8, but just writing 8 is perfectly okay. Work out the value of 5 cubed. It's checking to see, do you understand what this little 3 means? It means 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5. So we would get 25 multiplied by 5. And if you don't know what that is, then do your column method, do any kind of written method to work that out. So 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. Add on the 2 and you've got 125. It is not a bad thing to be doing these calculations on the side. It's better to do that and get it right. Expand 5 bracket 2m subtract 3. What that is saying is 5 multiplied by every term inside the bracket. So we need to do 5 multiplied by 2m, which is 10m. 5 multiplied by negative 3, which is negative 15. You have to have both terms correct to get that 1 mark. Factorize 3n, add 12. So that's the opposite of what we did before. We're putting it into brackets. When I do factorizing, I do this upside down bus-stop method. And this is quite a nice, simple expression, but if it was more complex, if they had more letters going on, this method is quite a nice method to use. What I'm looking for right now is a common factor of 3n and 12. It could be a number, it could be a letter, so a variable. For me, I can only think of 3. So now I'm going to do 3n divided by 3, which is n. And then a positive 12 divided 3 is a positive 4. Now look at n add 4. Is there anything there that's a common factor, but not 1? And there isn't. So my final answer is 3 bracket n add 4. So obviously this is a 1 mark question, so it's not too complex. You don't even need to do this method for this question, but you may need to for your question in your exam. Stuart throws a biased coin 10 times. He gets 7 tails. Maxine throws the same coin 50 times and she gets 30 tails. Prasha is going to throw the coin once. Whose results will give the better estimate for the probability that she will get tails? Stuart's or Maxine's? You must give a reason. So this is a 1 mark question. Without the reason, you won't get the mark. So it is Maxine, but you must give a reason. So Maxine, because she has a higher number of throws. If you just write Maxine, you will not get that 1 mark. Use Stuart's and Maxine's results to work out an estimate for the probability that Prussia will get tails. So we need to work out how many tails they both got all together. That is 7 add 30, which is 37. And then the total number of throws, which is 10 add 50, and that gives us 60. And that's just for your understanding how I'm getting these numbers. The answer they're looking for the 1 mark is 37 over 60. So you don't have to write out everything I've written, but that's just for your understanding. The diagram shows a rectangular garden path. Wasim is going to cover, so that's area, the path with paving stones. Each paving stone is a square with 30 centimetres and each one costs £2.50. And Wasim has £220 to spend. Show that he has enough. So this is all about method. If you just say yes with no answer or with no method, or no with no method, you won't get the mark. To start off with, we need to work out how many paving stones he needs in the first place. Along the length, he will need, so if I just write length, he will need 600 divided by 30 because each one is 30 centimetres. So he will need 20, and that gets me 1 mark. Along the width, his width there is 120, each square is 30, so that gives us 4. Because we've worked out the length and the width, that gets us 1 mark. You only need to work out 1 for that 1 mark. So the total area covered, so how many does he need? So stones needed would be 20 multiplied by 4. We have 20 along here, and then we've got 4 along here. And that gives me 80, so there's my second mark. My third mark is for working out the cost, and I've got 80 multiplied by £2.50. I don't have a calculator, so I will do 40 multiplied by 5, which is 200. And all of this is perfectly fine, and now I'm going to justify everything. I'm going to basically show off to the examiner that I've read the question. 200 is less than 220. So he has enough money. So he has enough money. Okay, these questions are all about you showing off all of your method, and you understand that your answer in this case is smaller than 220. In this question, to get the first mark, you need to make the denominators the same. It doesn't matter what denominator you choose. I will choose the lowest common multiple. So in this case, it's 15. And that would get me 10 over 15, subtract 3 over 15. You could have chosen 30, you could have chosen 45. It doesn't matter. So that's 1 mark. And then I work that answer out, and that is 7 over 15. And that is all they're looking for. It doesn't say to simplify, and in fact, you don't have to simplify in this particular question. Work out 2/3 multiplied by 3/4. Give your answer as a fraction in its simplest form. I'm going to show you two methods. So if I've got 2/3 multiplied by 3/4, what I like to do is cross-cancelling. So what goes into 2 and into 4, and that's 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then I will do the same for the 3 and 3. 3 goes into both of them, and that gives us 1 and 1. Now when I multiply, I've got 1 multiplied by 1, which is 1, and 1 multiplied by 2, which is 2. So that's already simplified. The other method is to do 2 over 3 multiplied by 3 over 4, and to just go ahead and multiply the two numerators and the two denominators. And that gets us 6 over 12. And then to do your simplifying, which is to divide by 6, divide by 6, and we get a half. So both methods work. It's just up to you which one you prefer and what you're more comfortable with. Here are two squares, A and B. The length of the side of A is 50% of the side of square B. Express the area of the shaded region of A as a percentage of the area of square B. To start with, for 1 mark, I'm going to assign a length. Keep it nice and simple. Let's make this 10 centimeters. If A is 10 centimeters and that's 50% of B, then this one must be 20 centimeters. You can assign any number and that will get you 1 mark as long as they are correct. For the second mark, I'm going to start working out the areas. So for A, I've got 10 multiplied by 10 divide 2 because it's a triangle, and that is 50. I suppose that's centimeters, square centimeters. For B, we're talking about the square, there's no triangle here. So 20 multiplied by 20, and that is 400 square centimeters. But the question, it says to express as a percentage. So I've now got 50 over 400. If I divide that, both of them, by 2, I get 25 over 200. I need it to be over 100 so I can convert to a percentage. I'm going to divide both of them by 2 again. I've got 12.5 over 100. Now that it's over 100, I can convert it into a percentage, and it's 12.5%. You must leave your answer as a percentage and not just as a fraction. There are 40 students in a class. Each student walks to school or cycles or gets the bus. There are 22 girls in the class. 9 of the girls walk to school, 7 of the boys cycle to school. 6 of the 10 students who get the bus are boys. Find the number of these students who walk to school. In this question, we're given 2 types of information: the way they travel to school and whether they are a boy or a girl. So we're going to draw a 2-way table when we're given 2 types of information. So walks, cycles, bus, and total. And then over here, I've got whether they are a girl, boy, and a total. So use all the information like a checklist to fill in the table. 40 students 40 students in a class, so that's 40 in total. That's ticked off. 22 girls in the class, so 22 in total. You can tick that off. 9 of the girls walk, so 9 girls. Done. 7 of the boys cycle, so boys and cycle is 7. Ticked off. And then 6 of the 10 students who get the bus. So the total bus is 10 and 6 of those are boys. And that's all of that. So I filled in my two-way table. That's not actually worth any marks. It's just to make it clearer for me. To get my first mark, I'm going to do 40 take away 22 to get me 18. So now I know how many boys there are in total. To get my second mark, I'm going to work out how many boys walk to school. So 18, subtract 6, subtract 7, that is 5. So there's 2 marks there. And then for my third mark, I need to work out how many walk to school altogether, and that's 9, add 5. And just by writing 9, add 5, I've got a third mark. And then because I've worked that out to be 14, I now have my fourth mark. So this makes it visually a lot easier to see what you need to work out and what you can just leave out. There are only blue cubes, red cubes, and yellow cubes in a box. The table shows a probability of taking at random a blue cube from the box. The number of red cubes in the box is the same as the number of yellow cubes in the box. Complete the table. To get 1 mark, you need to understand that each one is x, and we're going to create an equation. So 0.2 add x, because we've said it equals 1, I have 1 mark now. Because I've shown the examiner, I understand probabilities add up to 1. Then I've got 2x add 0.2 equals 1. And however you like to solve that, you need to solve it. So I've got 2x is equal to 0.8. And then I know that x is equal to 0.4. So now I can say that each one of these is 0.4. Dion needs 50 grams of sugar to make 15 biscuits. She also needs 3 times as much flour as sugar, 2 times as much butter as sugar. Dion is going to make 60 biscuits. Work out the amount of flour she needs. So we're just worried about flour. So here it says 3 times as much flour as sugar. So sugar was 50 and she needs 3 times as much. So multiply by 3. She needs 150 grams of flour. Now I have 1 mark, and now I can go back to my headings that I use. I've got flour and I've got biscuits. With 150 grams, Dion can make 15 biscuits. She wants to make 60. So again, go downwards or go across, completely up to you. I am going to go across. I am going to multiply by 10, and that there gives me a second mark. And because I can work that out to be 600, I've got my third mark. So your first mark is for working out you need 150 grams for the 15 biscuits. Then because you're trying to work it out for 60 biscuits, and in my case, I did multiply by 10, so I've got the second mark there. And then for answering your question with 600 grams, you'll get the third mark. The question goes on to say, Dion has to buy all the butter she needs to make 60 biscuits. She buys the butter in 250-gram packs. How many packs of butter does Dion need to buy? So we need to work out how much butter she needs for the 15 biscuits. So it was 50 grams of sugar, and she needs 2 times as much. So multiply that by 2, and that's 100 grams. Now I'm going to do what I did before, but this time it's butter and biscuits. And I've got 100 grams of butter, 15 biscuits, but we're making 60. I can't go across, so this time I'm going to go down. I'm going to multiply by 4, and I'm going to multiply by 4. Because I'm doing all of this and I end up with 400 grams, I have 1 mark. So that's 1 mark so far. But remember, she's buying it in packs of 250. So now we're going to say 1 pack is 250 grams, 2 packs is 500 grams. And then we don't need to go on. We can just stop there, and we can say that she will needs 2 packs. And that is perfectly fine. And there's your 2 marks. If you remember earlier when we were factorizing an expression, we did the upside down bus stop, and that is exactly what I'm going to do for highest common factor. So I've got 72 and 90, upside down bus stop, and then think of a number that goes into both of them. The only number I can think of is 9. So 72 divided by 9 is 8. 90 divided by 9 is 10. And then I'm going to do it again because I noticed that 2 goes into both of them. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And this process here has got me 1 mark, 1 method mark. The HCF, the highest common factor, is whatever's on the left multiplied together. So now I'm going to do 9 multiplied by 2, which is 18. And that there gets me the final mark. The diagram shows the plan, front elevation and side elevation of a solid shape drawn on a centimetre grid. So we've got a circle if you look from the plan, so that's like a bird's eye view. And then if you look directly from the front, that's a rectangle, and from the side, it's the same rectangle. So we should understand from this that it's a cylinder. So we get a mark for drawing a cylinder. To get that second mark, we need to write down the dimensions. So in this one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 centimeters tall, and the diameter is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to put here 4 centimeters, and that will get me the 2 marks. Shape A can be transformed to shape B by a reflection in the x-axis. So that's a reflection in the x-axis followed by a translation with vector CD. So for the first mark, I'm going to do the first step, which is reflection in the x-axis. The x-axis is this one along here, the horizontal. So if I now reflect it downwards, it's going to be upside down. So this point here would go down here, this one would go down here, and it's an upside down triangle. So that's the first mark because I've reflected. And then translation is a movement. It's like sliding. So for the C, it's the horizontal. We are going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So because it's to the left, it's -6. That's my second mark. The D is your vertical, so whether you're going up or down. In this case, we're going down by 1. And because it's down, it's -1. And there's your third mark. A shop sells packs of black pens, packs of red pens, and packs of green pens. There are 2 pens in each packet of black, 5 pens in each packet of red, 6 pens in each packet of green. On Monday, the number of black packets to the number of red packets to the number of green packets is 7 to 3 to 4. So that's the number of packs. And we're told that a total of 212 pens were sold. So not packets, but pens. Work out the number of green pens sold. We need to work out the ratio of the pens sold. So not the packets, but actual pens. So black, red, and green. So we need to do the ratio of the packet, 7, multiplied by the number of pens in each packet. So for black, it's 2. Then I've got the ratio for the number of red packets, 3, multiplied by the number of pens in each packet, which is 5. And then the green, there's a ratio of 4 green packets multiplied by the number of pens in each one, which is 6. So this here gets me 1 mark. Then I write it out, I work it out and I write it out, and I've got 14 to 15 to 24. And that's in total. So the black pens to red pens to green pens is 14 to 15 to 24. If I add that up, I get 53. You can just do that calculation on the side somewhere using column addition, that's fine. That's the total shares I've got at the moment, but remember our total is actually 212. Now I need to work out 53 times what is 212, and repeated addition will get you that, and I've worked out it's multiplied by 4. Now I have a second mark. Because it's asking about green, I'm going to do 24 multiplied by 4, and that gets me a third mark. And then I'm going to work that out by doing doubling and doubling again. So 4896, and that there is my fourth mark. Here are 2 rectangles. QR is 10 centimeters and BC is equal to PQ. So if this is X, so is this. The perimeter of ABCD is 26 centimeters. The area of PQRS is 45 square centimeters. Find the length of AB. So I'm going to start with this line over here. That's my first line of working out. The area, so I need to do 10 multiplied by x. 10x equals 45. X would be 4.5 centimeters. So that's my first line of working out. And in fact, I'm going to relabel everything. So now I know it's 4.5. I'm going to put 4.5 over here and 4.5 over here. Then using the line above, it says the perimeter of ABCD is 26 centimeters. So we know for perimeter, you have to add up all of the lengths around the outside of the shape. I'm going to call this one Y. So this is Y, and the opposite AD is 4.5 as well. So for my second set of working out, I've got 2Y add 2 lots of 4.5, and that equals 26. So that is my second mark. Because I'm now going to try and solve this, 2y add 9 equals 26. Remember, I used the sort of flowchart method. My attempt at solving is going to get me my third mark. So multiply by 2, add 9, and that is 26. And then if you go backwards, you subtract 9, then you divide by 2, and then hopefully that will get us the answer. 26 subtract 9 is 17. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So the length of AB, which was our Y, is 8.5 centimeters. And that's my fourth mark. Here is the graph of y equals x squared, subtract 2x, subtract 3. It says write down the coordinates of the turning point on the graph of y equals x squared, subtract 2x, subtract 3. The turning point is also known as the minimum point, and that is over here. The coordinate for that is 1, -4. And that there gets you the mark. You don't have to do anything else. Use the graph to find the roots of the equation x squared subtract 2x subtract 3 equals 0. If it equals 0, it means y is equal to 0, and y is equal to 0 along the x-axis. So where does the curve cross the x-axis? And that's along this point over here and this point over here. And for one mark, you need to say x equals -1. For a second mark, x equals 3. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day.